Have you ever done a live podcast before?
I've never done a live podcast before, and
How
I'm happy
exciting.
that I have my first time with you, Peter.
Yeah, that's what she said. Nobody, no girl ever said that. Wow. So your box in the background. So you're moving, like you're currently moving.
Yeah, I'm moving. Yeah, right.
Where
It's
are
funny
you
because
moving, or why are you moving?
I move in Hamburg from the west of Hamburg to the center of Hamburg because we moved like 2 years ago from the really center of Hamburg, like St. Pauli center. Have you ever been in Hamburg?
No,
No. The
no, I
red
haven't.
light
I've been in
district
Berlin,
is in
but
St.
I haven't been
Pauli.
in Hamburg.
Berlin is not the best town to be in Germany, to be honest. But we moved from St. Pauli, where's the red light district,
Oh,
to Blankenese.
work
And
dried up,
Blankenese,
did it?
yeah. We can speak about it later, I think. And we moved to Blankenese. This is like a little bit far outside.
Okay.
And it's really good for my dog here and to have like a calm environment and not too much drugs and partying and stuff like this. And yeah, but my girlfriend don't likes it here because it's too peaceful, I think.
Okay.
And yeah,
Where am I looking? St.
yeah,
Pauli, like right in the middle.
no, a little bit on left, a little bit right. And then, yeah, like Sternschanze, you can see Sternschanze.
Oh
When
yeah,
you zoom in, yeah, there we live.
so that's where you're going to live, or where you live now.
We live there on the bottom on Feldstraße. This is where we live. There's like the Feldstraßenbunker.
Okay.
You can
down
click
here.
on it, I think. Yeah.
There.
Yeah, we live there.
Okay. Wow.
Then we moved to the left, to the west, to
Okay.
Blankenese.
And where are you moving to now?
We're gonna move to the harbor on the bottom now. When you go to the bottom a little bit, and then to the left, there you can see the U-boat museum, and
Oh yeah.
this is exactly.
So you're going to live in the museum.
Yeah, more or less.
Let's have a little look around and see. Okay. Oh shit! I'm right. I'm in the museum. Get out. Okay.
Yeah,
so down here,
go up the
somewhere.
street. Yeah, up the street, and then on the left. Yeah. No, everybody knows
That's
where I
cool.
live.
And why you said that? You said, "Oh wow, it's very green. I like that." You said Berlin isn't that great. What's wrong with Berlin?
Berlin is too big.
These guys. What's wrong with Berlin?
Berlin is too dirty, too big.
Fancy.
But at semis, Berlin was good because we stayed in the I forgot the name of the part of the city again. So this time Berlin was better than all the other times I've been to Berlin because this time everybody was really polite in the Mauerpark. It was directly next to the venue from the semifinals. That was really good. Yeah. Have you seen something from Berlin or only the venue?
Well, I stayed in a hotel that was like quite a bit away, because I'm poor. But it wasn't cheap either. But it was my first time using an electric scooter in
Same here
in Berlin. They're fun. They are.
Yeah.
So the first one I got, it was like you download the app, you scan the thing, and then it said, hop on and just push off, and it'll just take over. And I pushed off and nothing happened. It made a noise, but nothing happened. I was like, all right, I'll try it again. So I like pushed off and nothing happened. And I was like, okay. And then my phone was like, this is faulty. And I was like, this is a shit start to using scooters. But then the second one I get, man, they go fast, like seriously fast. And it was like cheap. I've nothing really to compare it to, but it's cheaper than renting a car. It was like €5 or €4 or something got me to the venue.
Yeah.
And the first day we were there, we walked. We were somewhere. See, I don't know the name of any places, but we were somewhere where we walked along where the wall used to be, and there was these like kind of bars in the ground and stuff. And we walked along there. And the guy I was with, Vincent, he fucking loves a walk. So the second day we walked. Well, one of the days on the way back from the venue, I was on Savann's show when I was walking back, and I think I walked for like an hour and 20 minutes,
Really?
like on the phone walking back.
Crazy.
eventually just made my way back without actually thinking about it. And then another day with Vincent, he was like, "Oh, let's walk this way." And I mean, we could have been in fucking Denmark. Like, we just kept walking and walking. So I quite liked it, because the last time we were there was in 2018, and it was somewhere else. It was in like the Velodrome or something in 2018, and I find that area very grey and very like
True. That is what I mean about Berlin.
Yeah. But it was this year now. It was in a nice it was a nice little area. I thought that park was fucking weird. Did you walk through that park?
Yeah, we did, and there have been like a lot of different people. Some people doing drugs, some people playing basketball, some people doing music, or doing this tarot card readings, like where you can know something about your future. And I said to my girlfriend, "Should I ask him if I qualify for the games?" And she said, "I can tell you as well, so no problem."
You don't need to read your future for that. What do you like to be around when you're competing? Like, if I ask your girlfriend, would she say, "Oh yeah, it's great, it's just the same as he always is," or is it like, no, you can't talk to him at certain times or whatever?
Depends on the competition.
Okay.
And on my events, on my previous events. No, I'm like nervous all the time prior to competition. Like the week before, my girlfriend knows without knowledge. So if she didn't knew that I'm going to do a competition, she could tell you, just because of my how's in English,
Mood.
my atmosphere, my mood.
Your mood.
Yeah, my mood. And so I'm different. I'm not the politest guy. I think I'm really focused and try to do my thing, especially on semis, for example. But everything is like planned. Like I had a team from 2 people, because we did this Road to the Games series on YouTube, and it's made from 2 girls from my box, and they followed me, and they stayed in our home as well. And before that, Denise was like, "Is it a good idea to do it with us, that we stay at the same Airbnb together?" And I'm like, "Okay, let's test it." And we tested it, and it was like fine, better than I thought. So yeah, I think I grew in my mood, in my competition mood. I think like 5 or 4 years ago, I was a little bit like more like an idiot than now.
But like, are you in general? Are you an organized person? Are you organized around competition? Like, are you a bit OCD-ish? Like, are you a bit like, no, this has to be that way, this has to be like, what's your general vibe?
Too much. I found a new mental coach like 2 months prior to the semis, and after like 3 sessions, he said to me, "Moritz, you want everything perfect. Just realize that nothing in life is perfect. So we have to work on that." So I think, to answer your question, yes, I'm sometimes too much into a perfect situation, and that's not healthy sometimes, I think.
Yeah, well, especially in this sport, it's just setting yourself up for failure, isn't it? And how did you find that mental coach? Like, how did that relationship start? Did they advise you, or what?
That's a little nicer. Through Google, to be honest. I just Googled it because I had a mental coach, and that was like a testing mental coaching, because she came to me and spoke to me.
This is your video, is it?
This is the Road to the Games. Yeah, true.
Don't do me for copyright, please. I'm trying to help. Don't flag my channel for copyright.
Good idea, Peter. Good idea.
This is cool.
I had a mental coach. They did a great job, I think.
Yeah, really did. They're very nice graphics.
Yeah. And
I'm sorry, your mental coach.
No problem. Yeah, you have to watch all 3 videos. It's like open, quarters, semis, and then games. This is Denise, my girlfriend.
Oh. This is
the sponsor.
Semifinals, du bist am Arsch, was machen wir? So, MRT gemacht und so weiter und so fort. Dann hieß es auch, okay, manche Muskelfaserbündel.
That's cool. Oh, the subtitles. I'll watch the
I snatched 140 and I ripped my hamstring, part of my hamstring, 3 weeks prior to the semis. This is what I just said there.
Shit.
Back to the mental coach. I had a mental coach, and then I didn't have any more, like for half a year, and then I thought, okay, this season it's harder to prepare for the semis than last season because of all of the external pressure. And I thought I'm tough enough to get above it, like to handle it. But then I thought, okay, to have more fun in this preparation, I think, is it fun? Yeah, to be more
Enjoy
calm
it,
in this, to enjoy more of the process, right? Would be good to speak to someone who's like neutral. And then I googled and I spoke to some of them, and I found out that there are a lot of bad mental coaches, to be honest. Like people, same with personal trainers in the fitness business, right? Some personal trainers need some personal trainers, and I think some mental coaches would need some mental coaches. That is what I found out, and then I found one.
Who's the person you're working with now?
His name is Fabian Neumann. He's from Hamburg as well.
Okay.
And like we did it online the first time, and the first 3 or 4 times, and then I went to his office, and it worked out really good, because at first I thought it's not too good to speak with a guy, like with a male, because before that I spoke only to women, because I like this like feminine energy and not this bullyish.
You felt comfortable talking about feelings with a girl, basically, more so than you thought you would talking with a guy. Yeah, that's fair.
Right. Yeah. But then I found out that a guy or a man can have this feminine energies and understandings as well, and he had. So it worked out really good and helped me for the semis as well, I think.
And so does he do? Is he a sports psychologist or just a general like mental coach?
Good question. I haven't checked his CV, to be honest.
He's just some guy. Did he know what CrossFit was? Did you have to explain to him what CrossFit was, or does he care? Does he just want to know like the kind of pressure you're under, and then he can deal with that? Does he care about like deadlifts or anything?
He heard about CrossFit, but he's not like into it. He's more into tennis and soccer. But he knew what CrossFit is, and then I explained a little bit. But it was good for me that it's not like a CrossFit coach or a CrossFit mental coach.
Yeah.
Are there CrossFit mental coaches? Do you know that?
I don't think they're only, but like Tom Foxley, he does like Mindset RX. He used to own a CrossFit gym and stuff, but I don't think he limits himself to. I think he'd talk to anyone. He calls the people he works with like high achievers. So I think that includes like sport or like other stuff, and then like Ben Bergeron, obviously, and but I don't know if he'd call himself a mental coach. There's a few mental coaches in CrossFit, as in just like nuts. Yeah, that's interesting though. And so last year, so you said there that it was the external pressure. So does that mean that like, because I spoke to you after the games, I spoke to you before Dubai, I think, didn't I? And we talked about like how you're in Madison and how you kind of weren't, you were happy to have done it, but you weren't overly happy with how it went, and you weren't, satisfied, we'll say. Satisfied, but not satisfied and kind of still hungry, I suppose. So then is that pressure you're talking about, because after that, then there was a German throwdown, went very well. There was Dubai, went very well. There was the Open quarterfinals, all went very well. And then you're heading towards semifinals of this like huge stacked European field where like, I mean, if you fuck up once, chances are you're really going to struggle to get back in. Is it because when you talk about that external pressure, is that stuff that you've heard and stuff that you've read and stuff that's been said to you, or is it stuff that you maybe perceive to be out there, or like pressure that you think yourself, oh, everybody thinks I will do really well because I was at the game, so I have to do really well? Or are you literally like reading predictions and stuff and that's affecting you?
I haven't read like predictions or stuff like this. A lot of people said that, and I had like in my mind all the time, you have to qualify, because like the first time it felt a little like...
Are you Googling a word?
No, I good idea. Yeah. I thought it was luck, like to qualify for the games the first time, like because it was only because of the last event, and then it feels like I have this German word in my mind, and I just wanted to Google it, and now you ask if I Google it, and no, I don't Google it anymore.
No, do Google it.
I think there is no word for it in English, to be honest. No, it felt like luck, and then going to this into this season, I thought like, oh, you really have to work hard. I worked hard, but still, I thought, is it enough? and everybody's thinking you are going to go to the games again, and for sure he will qualify because he said that. And then we did the road to the games like 2 days prior to the semis. I said, fuck, why did we named it like road to the games when I will not qualify for the games?
Let's call it,
would
let's
be
see what happens.
yeah, let's see what happens. Episode 1 would have been a disaster to not qualify and doing like a road to the games. That's like a fuck up, right? So this is like the external pressure. I mean, and for me, it was like, okay, I want to qualify again because then I will get this sponsors. Then I will have more kind of a legacy because no one in Germany qualified 2 times for the games. Blah blah blah, stuff like this. And so that was the pressure, I think.
Fuck, you put something out of my head there that I was going to ask you, because someone actually messaged me today and said, is Moritz the first German to go to the games?
Yes,
and I was like,
in this qualification process,
yeah,
yes.
Joshua did through the national champions, and obviously there was a female national champion then as well, who clearly lived on long in my memory because I've forgotten who they are. But you're the first. You've qualified twice. Joshua did well that year. I think he finished like top 20 or something.
I'm happy that he went there. I got second this year. And for the 5th workout, I went to his gym because he like kind of invited me to the workout. It was this 27, 25 something chest to bar and thruster. 19.5. Do you remember that workout?
Yeah, vaguely.
Chest to bar pull-ups and thruster. Like a 27 down to 6. Anyways,
yeah, like 27, 21, 18, that kind of thing.
Yes, right. Yeah. And I beat him, and then if we locked this scores, I would have been first, and then I would have gone to the games in 19. But I'm really happy that he did a redo. I was completely sick this weekend, I remember. And then he did a redo and beat my time. And then he got first. And then this year, there have been a lot of running, right? Do you remember? Like I think the Go Rock running where Fraser lost a pound.
The bag,
the sprinting, the first event with the legless rope climb, snatching and running, a lot of running. And Joshua is really known as a really, really good runner.
He won High Rocks, didn't he? Didn't he win?
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. When he runs, I did a competition after the games with him, like rowing 5K, and after that we had to run. And he ran faster than everybody else, and I was really impressed. So he's a really good runner. So I'm happy that he did the 2019 games because I wouldn't have been ready for the games in 19. And he was a lot longer in the sport than me at this point. I started cross in 2017. So 2 years later, I would have gone to the games, and I think I wouldn't have made the cut, to be honest. So it was good that he went to the games and not me.
Yeah. You're not the first person to say that they missed out and that they're relieved that they missed out, because like I suppose at the time it's like, oh, this would be amazing, but then with the benefit of hindsight you think, thank fuck I didn't go. I would have like embarrassed myself, or I wouldn't have been able to do what I wanted to do, or achieve what I wanted to achieve. So before Germany, then before Berlin you went to Mallorca and you're on the island, and there's like a training camp. Now this is so you started working with John. You didn't do a full season with him, did you? It was like during the season you started working with him, is that right? Or
yes, last year I joined the program in 2022 for the semis camp.
Okay, so you had done the Open, you'd done quarterfinals, you'd done your off season by yourself, and you were programming for yourself.
I programmed myself all the time. And then I hit a message to John asking him, like, I still have the voice message. I said, hey, John, because the year before he asked me about if I want to go to the games as a team. And I said, no, but then I had his number and I hit him a message, hey, you're so experienced. Can you help me peaking for semis? Because I don't know how to peak in CrossFit. And then he was like, hey, come over this weekend to a semis camp. And I booked flights, and 3 days later I've been on the island. And then I joined the program like 1 month prior to the semis, I think.
So he obviously made a big impact, because if you stuck with it, and then now you've had a full off season working with John, as in like games is over, You're still with the
Yeah.
program. You go through the season. I can hear your dog. That's cool. You go through the season. The off season, you do the competitions. You you win the German Throwdown. You podium in you basically win Dubai. You podium in Dubai. And then is there a better off season? Could you have predicted that the off season would be that good? Was that how you were you going into the off season being like, all right, this big swinging dick coming back from the games, being like, here we go, or were those kind of successes is that just kind of fuel for the fire for later on in the season, or do you bask in those when they happen? This is brilliant, taking them as big wins, or are they just stepping stones towards Berlin and then Madison?
One more point at Dubai would have been great because first place in Dubai would have been awesome, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, winning the German Throwdown, got second at Dubai was great. Then I knew, okay, it was not just no, I will Google the word. I don't think that it's
fluke.
Imposter? Have you?
Oh yeah, imposter. Yeah, you felt like you didn't belong. You had imposter syndrome.
A con man, confidence trickster. Yeah, okay.
Imposter. Yeah, you were like, oh, everyone else deserves to be here, but I just won a raffle, and
yes, it was luck. I thought it was luck that I went to the games last year, and but then I had the confidence after Dubai. Okay, it can't be luck because you can't.
Nobody's
have
that
so
lucky.
much luck in every competition for every event planning. You know what I mean. Adrian Bosman is the
every what?
Event planner.
Yeah.
How's it called?
Yeah. What?
How is his what's his job at CrossFit?
Who? Boz. Programmer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can't only be the programming if you win, if you go to the games, win German and got second at Dubai.
And
that's what I wanted to say.
There's three radically different competitions as well. Climbing the Burj, that's quite different from everything else you had done previously.
I sat in the bus back to the hotel, and Brian France sat next, in front of me, and didn't knew which place I got. And he had his notices on his phone, and I watched this at his phone, and he was writing down blah blah blah, Lazar here, Luca blah, and then Moritz Fiebig 8th. I'm like, Brian. He's like, yeah, what? Did I got 8th place? He's like, yes, you got. Why? Are you not happy? And I'm like, I'm fucking happy. First event, it was a cardio event, stepping up the Burj Khalifa. For sure, I'm happy with 8th place.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the main thing I took from that is that you say fucking with an Irish accent. That's pretty funny. That's
really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because you're talking to me or not, but that was an Irish accent.
I think it's because Conor McGregor. I really think it's
probably,
because of Conor
probably.
McGregor. I listened to him before the last event in Dubai. I listened to Conor McGregor, and after my fuck up at the semis, the rope climb event, the 6th, I listened to him as well, and I think till then I write fuck with FOOK, right?
Why? What were you listening to of his? Some kind of motivational thing he had said or something?
He something makes click in my head when I listen to him, because he's so completely confident with himself, and I think this helps me a little bit, because I'm sometimes the whole opposite, and when I listen to him, there's something helping me for my confidence, I think. No, we spoke about Dubai, Peter, and I just lied to you because I have used a scooter in Dubai, because walking by feet in Dubai isn't possible, and we used the scooter over there, and that was really helpful, because sometimes you can't get an Uber or a taxi in Dubai, so we used a scooter. But I have never used a scooter in Germany, not in Hamburg as well. Have you used Tier or Lime?
Bolt was the one I used. Bolt, BOLT.
Really? Okay, then
because I'm still getting fucking emails off them saying, "Hey, have you tried our discount?" It's I'm not in the same fucking country. It's I was there for a week. Do you know? I remember Brent Fikowski telling me that he used a scooter in Madison, to get around,
really?
like for in between events stuff. And then they were told they're not allowed to do it after that, I think. But he said he'll always remember the look that Josh Bridges gave him of like, you fucking pussy, like when he's going past him on the scooter that he wouldn't walk and everything else. Be good to
But
see if he had
imagine
like
Brent
an electric
Fikowski on
one.
a scooter is really funny.
Yeah, especially one of the like
Yeah.
actual push pedal, like like that you really had to work on.
It's true.
Okay, and then so you had your off season with John, and was your off season with John compared to your off season programming for yourself, or your off seasons programming for yourself? Were you like, oh fuck, this is totally different from the stuff I've been doing, or like have you going into say heading towards Madison now, because you've done semi prep with him and you've done games prep with him prior to this, but you've done an off season as well. Do you feel different this year than you felt last year or other years?
Yeah, sure. Like the first thing comes in my mind when I think about starting with the program. Basically, there are 2 points. Like the first point is John told me, okay, you have to have the whole Sunday off, like stay at home, don't go to the box, and don't train. And like 3 years, like before I started with the program, I had no Sunday, no day off, like 3 years the whole time. Do you know what I mean? You know what I want to say? And then I really had to get used to have a day off, like doing nothing, and just go for a walk with the dog, or have a sauna or something like this. Here's my dog.
We can add nothing to your list of Irish isms there as well.
Can you see her? She's laying there.
Oh yeah, on the couch.
Yeah. Then the second thing is, I went to the island, and the first thing we did was a conditioning piece, and it was like every 20 minutes 5K row, rest of the time going on the runner. Next 20 minutes, like straight into the next 20 minutes, 5K ski, go to the runner for the rest of the time, and then 10K bike, go to the runner for the rest of the time. And I think it was 2 times. And I was next to Christoph Horvath in the sun. I'd only trained in Hamburg, like with a badish weather.
Yeah.
And it was hot. I was sweating a lot. I was cramping, and I was rowing like an idiot. I had my knees out. I put my elbows on my knees. I had my chest down, like around the back.
Yeah.
And we have been like 12 athletes doing it or something. And John stood next to me like the whole 18 minutes or something, what it needed to do the 5K, and was like, Moritz, knees in, Moritz, knees in, keep your pace, Moritz, chest up, knees in. And then at some point, Gabby Migala looked to me and said, do what he say or I will hit you. like fuck, do what he say, and if not, like it was embarrassing that you're not doing it. And then I was like, I hated John at this point. But then I went away, I took some breath, and then I was like, okay, it's your fault and not John's fault. So you have 2 options now. Stay with the program and do the work to learn how to row and learn how to do the conditioning in the sun next to Christoph, and not start crying, or leave the island and continue programming for yourself. And I choose, what I choose, you know what I choose.
Yeah. And do you like say now, physically now, do you feel different than you did last June? Like, do you feel more physically ready to take on the games than you did last year?
Yeah, for sure. Like last year I had I don't want to talk about it like too much, but I had the worst back problems. That is why I always say like it was the best and at the same time the worst experience ever going to the games because of this back issues with my QL. And this year I feel a lot healthier, like going into the games, and I feel a lot better prepared, like volume wise, intensity wise, with all the movements. I decreased my hours on the gym, like being the CEO of the gym. I have a manager now, Arne. He's doing a really good job, and so I feel I'm more into CrossFit and more prepared in the whole picture than last year. Yeah,
it's kind of like Yana. Like Yana started working with Yami, and he was like, it just took so much off my plate. Like he's like, I just have so much more time to like recover, like to sleep and to stretch and to relax and, go to the sauna and the ice bath, because I don't have to think about what I'm going to do tomorrow or type anything up or write anything down or panic about next week. And then, So that first session with John, then, so he's telling you what to do, and you're like, shouting "fuck off, John" in your head, and then eventually you start listening. Obviously, what's he like as a coach? Because my only experience of him is in this setting, or like chatting to him or whatever. And when I watch him at events, he like is the slowest moving person in like the warm up area. He's like always looks like he's on holiday, and he's like, you expect him to crack open a beer at any moment. Like he's just so relaxed, like super relaxed. I don't think anything, like, I feel like a weight could fall directly behind him and he won't even like flinch. He'll just like slowly step forward out of where the weight might fall.
True.
He maintains that's like a calming. He was like, the athletes are already riled up. There's no point me like running around like a headless chicken or whatever. What's your time with him like in that coach athlete setting? Like, are you finding, is he a calming influence? Is he like, does he get riled up much? Does he get angry much? Like, he doesn't strike me as the type that would be like shouting, "Fucking come on, Moritz!" Like, I can't imagine him like roaring at you or anything.
So I love John. Like, when I'm around him, I feel more calm and more relaxed than next to other persons. So John is really, the only thing is when you speak to John, you don't know what he's thinking about. I think he has like 30 different themes in his head. And on the competition floor, it's the same. Like, John brings me so much peace when I see him on the competition floor, at the competition floor, in the warm-up area, stuff like this. And I remember John standing next to Denise in Dubai, and Denise asks him, "Hey, John, are you still nervous when you're here on the competition floor?" And then he was like checking his phone. He was watching the final event again. He was looking around, and then he turned to Denise and said, like, "I don't think so." Did I repeat it right, Denise? Yeah. She just said yes. That's John. I think he is. I don't want to say that he's a liar, but I think he is nervous. I think he's still nervous. I mean, he's doing this like 15 years.
But even just
now.
being so heavily invested, like, that, and you've no control over, like, he has no, he obviously wants you to do well. Like, first of all, he wants the athlete to do well, but like his legacy is reliant on the athletes doing well as well, and his success and his business's success. So yeah, I think especially when it's out of your, I mean, maybe if he's that stoic, but I find the same. I find I ask him a question, and as I'm talking to him, I like start thinking, is this a shit question or like the best question he's ever been asked? Like, is this like, is he like, wow, this is really poignant, this is such a good question? Or is he like, why the fuck is he asking me this? This is so stupid. But like, his face just gives nothing away. And then he just goes,
Same here.
And you're like, just hanging, waiting for like, that's a really good question, or like, no, that's stupid, I'm not answering that. But yeah, he's just like blank.
I love to be surrounded by John, really.
Yeah.
I remember, like, it must be the semis camp as well. I said something and he was like, "Can you say that again?" Like in this, "Can you say that again?" And I never heard this like quote, like, "Can you repeat it?" or stuff like that. "Can you say that again?" And I'm like, what the fuck did I say wrong?
Say that again, I'm going to hit you.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, hopefully you will not hit me. And it was like, should I bring the barbell or something like this, right?
Yeah.
But he asked it in this way, and I'm like, I was scared. But no, I really love to be surrounded by John. He's like, in the first month working with him, I was like, you are like this little athlete. And he's 15 years in the game. He was working with Sarah. He worked with BKG. He worked with like the best athletes in the sport. And I was like, so happy, like being surrounded by him, because he has all the knowledge and he helps me with everything. He's so calm and stuff like this. And I was like a little bit wondering, why is he wasting his time with me? You know what I mean? Because when you have a coach in front of you who coached idols, like I said, then you are like, what's going on here? But then he said at some point, "I know that you can make it to the games because I saw you, I spoke to you. You are mentally and physically prepared for the games." And then I understood, like it was like a clicking moment or stuff like that I understood, that I realized, okay, he's really believing in me, and that was like a big point for me to go to the program, to stay with the program, and to like invest more time and go more into CrossFit and less into like working business stuff like this.
Yeah, I think as well, the thing with John is he doesn't waste words. Like he won't say, he wouldn't tell you like, oh, you can do it if he doesn't think you can do it. And he wouldn't tell you like, he wouldn't tell you, he just doesn't waste words. Corey says back to the bar. That actually wasn't John, because I asked John about that. That was that guy that he runs weightlifting 101 now, and I can't remember his fucking name.
Eric.
Eric, yeah, that was Eric. That
Yeah.
wasn't John. Because I thought that was John. I asked John about it the first time I had him on, and he's like, that wasn't me, that was Eric.
Yeah. But John was there.
John was there and coaching
as
well, but it was John and Eric. Eric is also the guy that got kicked out of regionals in Berlin.
That's true.
Yeah, he sounds like quite an aggressive guy.
Eric did a weightlifting camp at CrossFit St. Pauli back in the days, like 2015 or something. Like time before I bought the company, and I heard a lot of stories about Eric.
I'd say he could write a book, man. I'd say he could write a book.
Yeah,
and
he
there's
must.
Slater, German Steel, and Keymaster. As a German, hearing Moritz's accent is just so cute. I feel like that might be someone misunderstanding the word.
You
cute.
call me cute? Tell me your address.
Gives him some German steel. So I was talking to somebody about. I was talking to Cam Porter in Berlin, and we were kind of chatting, and he was saying how I was kind of saying like, geez, Torian looked epic, like it looked unbelievable because he had been at Torian and then he was in Berlin, and he was like, yeah, but this is better. Like he said, Torian is brilliant for the venue is brilliant, the crowd is brilliant, the workouts are great, the organizers are great, the athletes are great, everything. But he was like, this has more like moments because obviously the field is stronger. So then you have these moments where it's like, shit, anyone could win this because there's like 5 really good people at gymnastics here, or there's 10 really good people at lifting or whatever. Whereas he was like, in Torian, you can kind of say like, yeah, Jay will probably win this one. Yeah, like, Bailey will win. Bailey will do well in this one. Baden last year, whatever, And another thing he was saying is missing is, and I think he was talking about, and I don't want to misquote him, but I think he was talking about in CrossFit in general, is like that showman kind of, like someone who like relishes the moment and like absorbs the moment in the moment. Because I think you see it sometimes from like Medeiros when he won. You have that picture of him like shouting and the video of him shouting or whatever. It's on the movie poster for this year's.
His parents. Yeah.
But like the rest of the week, kind of a bit like, he looks happy when he wins something or whatever, but he's not like fucking, like lapping it up or whatever. And that made me think of you straight away, because I was like, well, Moritz fucking lives for this shit. Like, and now that you say that you watch and listen to Conor McGregor and stuff, it kind of like it's adding up of like I
feel free in this octagon.
Yeah, you are like, you're the European showman anyway, from my perspective, because there is that kind of thing of like all the successful, or a lot of the successful CrossFit athletes from Europe have been Icelandic or Scandinavian, who generally speaking are not very outwardly emotive people. They're kind of, stoic, like the nod and gentle fist bump or whatever. But like something that I agree with Can that is missing is what you're bringing, which is like, I like you as a person, so I want you to be successful anyway. I like you as an athlete, so I want you to be successful. But I love you as a showman, where you stand like hands out. You were like multiple times over the weekend, like baying the crowd to be louder. And I know it's on home turf, but I feel like I can't see you being any different in Madison than you were in Berlin, of like enjoying that moment when you actually achieve something, that like when a workout is over and you've done well, basking in it, rather than just like quietly acknowledging like, oh, great, thanks, on to the next one. Because like there might be 15 workouts over the week, and it might be the ultimate goal might be to be on the podium, or it might be to be, top 5, top 1, whatever. But like those 15 potential moments over the weekend, they're fucking priceless. Like people would kill to have one of those moments, and it'd be very easy to like let them pass you by. And I also think, as a spectator and someone watching the sport and like sometimes commenting on the sport, it really adds something that is missing, of that someone who's like going to rile people up into, not in a, oh, I'm a dickhead and I'm going to rile people up, but in a like, you know, come on, louder, like I need more or whatever. And like, it's great that you're doing that. Like, I love that you're doing that. Is that something that you are intentionally doing for yourself to boost confidence and to feel better about what you're doing? Or is it something that just like, you're not even aware that you're doing it when you're doing it?
No, you spoke so much. I need some notices.
I
have so much.
It was
things in my
90%
head.
compliments and then
Wait,
a question.
no, shut up. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. So first point, I was shy back in the day. So when I went to school, for example, I was shy. Then I went to the bodybuilding stage. I did natural bodybuilding in Germany just to get rid of the feeling to be shy in front of a crowd, because you don't have to speak when you are naked and with brown collar on the stage, right? That was the first step I did to achieve things I wanted to achieve. Second thing is, I looked at Colton Mertens, and if you look at his finishes, he's like, okay, and off to the next one, or like a little bit shy as well, like not partying or stuff like this, not celebrating. And I was like, that's really cool, because he's not happy until he's the best, I think, right? I think that must be one of the reasons why he's doing like this. But then I said, no, I really love this. A lot of people ask me, like, the roll over the bar after Linda, was it planned? And I was like, no, that was like a last millisecond decision, because I knew the chip timer was on my left foot and Henrik is next to me. I have to get the chip timer above the line faster than him. And nothing is planned, like in celebration wise. The workouts are planned, everything is planned, but I always have like the worst situation in my head, because when I went to the Lowlands Throwdown at Sanctionals, for example, in 2018, the staging was the worst staging. I have nightmares about this staging, because you had to go downstairs through a tunnel, then upstairs again, and then you are in the back of the rack and going into the field. And that was like 1.5 years into CrossFit this year when I went to Lowlands. And I was scared. I was like the worst mentally, the worst prepared guy in this tunnel, in this down tunnel. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So this is always like in my head when I go to a competition. I hope the staging and the like going into the event is a good feeling. And sorry for the noises. And this is what I'm prepared for. And then I'm in the competition, and I know, okay, I just did German, I did Dubai, blah blah. I've been to the games, and this year I was able to like feel it, to be in the moment, to be in the competition, and to be happy, because this year I feel like I'm where I wanted to be last year, and last year I was the new one. I had to struggle with a lot of things. At the Lowlands Throwdown last year, everything was new, everything was so stressful. I just joined the program, and this year I felt more confident. So I went into the competition like with the plan to enjoy it. And then in the first event, have you been to the first event?
No, I missed the first. No. Yeah, the sled pull. Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was in the last heat, and in lane 6, and the commentator said my name. And the spectators have been so loud, and I was like, okay, this is the best feeling ever. I dreamed about like this situation where people scream my name, like cheering for me, and knowing that my mother is in the first. That was her first CrossFit event. Is in the spectators area as well, and hearing her name, like her last name. A lot of people went there or have been there with my shirt, like with the Fiebig supporter shirt on, what we sold before
What we
the
sold,
event.
yeah.
What we sold before the event. Thank you.
Look at this. You get a conversation and an English lesson. It's so good.
That's perfect. Appreciate it. Thank you. I will PayPal you the $20 afterwards. Okay.
I was going to say I don't want a German lesson, so this isn't quid pro quo. I want
next
cash.
podcast. Put a 1 in the chat if you want the next podcast in German with Peter. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll ask you where the library is like 500 times. Just go bibliothèque.
And you ask me again.
Same.
Ask me again where the library is.
Oh, fuck. Wo ist das?
Die.
Die Bibliothek? Bibliotheke.
Sehr gut.
Ja, ja.
Direkt geradeaus um die Ecke, Peter, und dann findest du da auf jeden Fall die Bibliothek und weißt, wo du ein Buch lesen kannst.
Oh, prima. Danke.
Ja. So, to get back to it.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Have a good evening. See you again.
Yeah.
That was the best feeling ever. And going into the competition, the first event was like perfect, right? Because we had like this slowish start on the bike. Everybody knew nobody will go nuts on the bike. And I shut my eyes like for the first 2 minutes. Then they said my name, and I was like so hyped. I opened my eyes and I was like at 85 RPM, and I'm like, fuck, that was too fast. Just because everybody screamed my name.
Yeah.
Funny.
But it built over the weekend then, where I think obviously they were happy that you were there and they were excited. I was like, oh God, we kind of own this guy. Like, we're German and we kind of like, he's German. That like we kind of own him. But then also like, because your performances were delivering then there was like this thing of like, oh fuck, he's doing really well and we own him. This is like better than like, you know, this is going way better than we thought it would. Did you talk to your mom afterwards? Do you talk to your mother after the event? Like, did she mention, obviously she was like, oh, you know, in whatever like German accent that I'm not going to do, you know, I'm so proud of you, little Mo. I'm you know, like
Little
cleaning
Mo.
chalk off your cheek. But like, did she mention anything about that kind of stuff? Like, was she like, God, it was crazy how loud they were? Like, did she comment on that kind of thing?
Yeah, she was like, oh, everybody's wearing a Fiebig shirt. That's crazy. And everybody knows you. Yes, Mom, that's what I built the last 3-4 years.
Where have you
No,
been?
it was funny because I remember she made herself an Instagram account, and she looked my stories, and I did in one story I did a back squat with like some weight, and she was like, can you please help someone yourself for this what you're doing there, because it looks like really heavy and you struggle with it. That was like her first point with CrossFit, and I don't know if she really understands CrossFit. Like,
Yeah.
she's not silly, but explaining CrossFit is like really hard, right? And she's looking some CrossFit and some of my videos as well, I think. But then in the event, she was like feeling the atmosphere, not looking the live stream, for example, because in Dubai, I sent her the live stream from the last day, I think. I don't know. And she didn't understood it. And then we had some coffees over the weekend in Berlin, and seeing her in person, like happy, and I'm happy because like being a CrossFit athlete, for me, it's like this. I don't know if every athlete is like this. I'm really focused on one thing or on two things, like the business, CrossFit St. Pauli, and CrossFit. And I don't have too much time to visit my mom because she's like 4 hours drive away from Hamburg. And so we don't see each other too often, what I'm really not too happy about sometimes. But then we saw in Berlin, she saw what I'm doing, what I'm building up, and what I'm living for, more or less. And seeing her then drinking coffee in Berlin with her, like with the success I had, and seeing her really proud was great. But then understanding as well, if I would be like working at the supermarket or doing a CrossFit competition in Germany, she would have been proud for both, because I'm her son. And realizing that was a great thing as well, I think, in Berlin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, she's definitely prouder, like watching you compete in CrossFit than watching you put tuna tins on a shelf or whatever. Like, it's both proud, but a different kind of pride. It's like same, but different. That's cool though. That's lovely. That's really lovely to hear. Yeah, I had a job interview earlier on today, and they were asking me what skills do I have for the role, and I said like, like pretty good communication. Like I do well at conversations and stuff. And they were like, oh, I have an example of that. And I was like, oh, fuck's sake, do I really want to tell them that I run a podcast? Like, I was like, is this really something I want to say? So I said, oh, I run a podcast and it's gone like reasonably well. And they were like, oh, what's the podcast on? And I was like, oh, fuck's sake. So not only now have I said I run a podcast, now I have to say CrossFit and then explain what CrossFit is. So I was like, oh, CrossFit, like fitness, you know, like fast fast fitness for time, basically, like working out really quick. I was like health and fitness, and one of them pretended to know what CrossFit was like, oh, CrossFit, yeah. Clearly didn't have a fucking clue what I was talking about, but like, humored me.
Sure.
I don't think I got the job. I didn't get a phone call about it, so I don't think I got it. But anyway,
But
it was
but
just for
wait,
it's still in the same. So I'm a teacher, and then the job was
I
like
know.
homeschool liaison. So it would be like going to families' houses of kids who might be at risk of like dropping out of school or whatever, and telling them like,
Okay.
"Hey, man, school's great. Maybe you should come to school. It's really cool." But yeah, no, I would have heard by now. There's GoWad, look.
Hey,
Always
Gobert,
there.
the
That was
best mobility
something,
app in the world.
isn't it? Isn't
It
it?
is. It is. I just did a Gobert session.
Library of protocols that are tailored directly for you because you do your mobility test first. What I was going to ask you about there, yeah, GoWad, put that into my head. So you're with GoWad now, and you're with Rain, and you're with Whoop. And I was curious, so like I'm assuming those kind of opportunities are presenting themselves more now, and you're more in demand because, like you said, like you make it once. Companies, they might be like, oh, like let's work together, but they also might be in the back of their head thinking like, was this luck? Like what blame them for thing, I guess. And then you win
100%.
Germany, and then you basically win Dubai, you come second. And then you qualify in Berlin, and like it's just podium. So now they're like, oh fuck, this guy's the real deal. Have you noticed like more, like have you had to hand that off to somebody else? If you had to say like, hey, look, this is too much for me to deal with, like this is basically just a different kind of distraction than the distraction I had from programming for myself. And then are you finding yourself having more pressure to deliver on your end? Like, is that kind of an extra weight of responsibility to be like, oh, now I have to make a post, or I have to do this or do that?
You're a really good communicator, Peter.
Oh,
You didn't lie in your in your Vorstellungsgespräch this morning. Interview. So I have a manager. She's Carmen. She's working with the program as well.
Yeah.
She's the manager at the program, and she's helping me with this stuff. We just signed a new contract today. What I'm really happy about, because it's about food.
But you can't say.
I can say it's Alaska seafood. It's great. I get the best fish now. That's really good. And what I wanted to say, she's helping me a lot, like with a lot of things. Like yesterday, I had a session. It was like heavy wall balls, heavy box step over, and box jump over. And I needed a 12 kg ball, like a mat ball. I just have a 15 kilo ball in my gym, and I hit her a message like saying basically, hey Carmen, I need a 12 kg ball. Before that, I screamed to my student. He was sitting at the desk. Arne, order a ball, like two 12 kg balls. And he was like, okay, I will do. And I was like in my head, Carmen can do. I hit a message to Carmen, can you please figure out if you can find 12 kg balls? And she's like, okay, let me that, I will handle it. And then like 2 days later, the 12 kg balls have been there. That was really, or will be there. That's really helpful. She's helping me with a lot of things. She stayed in Berlin with me for range shooting, for example, and helping me with a lot of stuff there, like with eating, with handling all the communication.
Is that awkward at the start? Is that like like when someone I don't know, somehow becomes a king, and like they feel uncomfortable with like, I'm not calling her a servant, but like with people doing everything for them, because like
I hate it.
Yeah, because it's awkward, and it's like, no, it's fine, I'll do it myself. Like you don't have to do that, and then I suppose you just get used to it, and it's like normal. But I'm assuming the first couple of months is like, no, Carmen, I'll do it. It's fine.
You can ask Denise when we go to a restaurant, what really don't happens too often, and when they're like the service people, what are they doing?
Waiters,
the waiters. Bringing away the dishes or stuff like that. I always bring the dishes to the kitchen, right? I always like help them to collect all the dishes, stuff like this.
I do the same. I'm like wiping the table
all the time. And Denise like, what the fuck? You're paying for it. Why are you doing like why are you doing this? And I'm like, I don't like it when someone serves me. Is it right? Yeah.
Yeah.
When someone serves me, and that was something I really had to get used to when Carmen did it, and I still have to get more used to it because that was awkward asking her, can you ask
Yeah.
someone to
But the
send
thing
me a
is as
12
well,
kg
you don't want to be a dick either. Like you don't
True.
want to ask the question that's like in the other
True.
end is like, you fucking asshole, get it yourself. Like, you know, like you
And
don't want to
then
push it too far.
and then a lot of other athletes who are not like saying thank you as well, like saying, Peter, bring me a coffee, you bring me a coffee, and I take it, I drink it, and I go away. You see these examples, and then you have you I think even more about like asking for something. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That coffee would have piss in it by the third or fourth time that happened. To be honest, I wouldn't. If someone's asked me for a coffee and I was bringing them a coffee and they were never saying please and never saying thank you, it wouldn't be coffee by coffee number 4. It would just be like
2. I know it's the second one would have been with spit.
No, I'd let 2 or 3 go by, and then I was like, this isn't a coincidence. This is a trend. Like this is happening all the time.
If I would ask you about a coffee at the games, you would bring me a coffee, yeah?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And then if you asked me the second time, I'd bring it again. And if the first and second time didn't have please or thank you, and the third time didn't have please or thank you, the third one would have Tren in it. And I'd be like pointing at the drug testing guy, like, have you seen this guy?
This guy. He had a good coffee.
Okay, look, I won't keep you too much longer. I just with Madison then. So last year you didn't have the most. You didn't have the experience you wanted last year with injury and stuff heading in. This year, you're feeling good, you're feeling fresh. What is the aim? Like, have you got, obviously, I always feel kind of stupid asking this because, the general answer is, well, obviously you're relying on other people doing well or not doing well or whatever, and you have to do it. There's a lot of variables and stuff. But like, have you got a placement in your head? Is it just like, just get through the cuts and then see what happens? Or have you got something in your head?
Let's say a rogue invitation would be nice.
Okay. I can see. Yeah, I have you top 10. That's
really?
I figure. I think we did. So I did this thing with barbell spin, the spin pole. I think I had you in 11th, but we're updating it now for July.
Really?
I think I'm moving you to 10th.
That is what I meant with external pressure, Peter.
Yeah, that's how do you feel with, so obviously like people send messages, like someone, you might put up a story and someone might be like, oh, yeah, you're gonna fucking come 5th at the games, and like, oh, you're gonna win the games, whatever. Is that like
last year someone wrote, so a lot of people wrote like, you're gonna be the fittest man on earth this year, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Sorry, I interrupt you.
Is that like, do you take those kind of things like, because they mean well, like they're trying to, but then like obviously it is that kind of pressure thing. Like, do you hand your phone off to Denise, say like the week before a competition, just like, here, you just do that?
She's answering the questions like the week before because I don't want to have these things in my head.
Yeah.
Like I only meditate and read books. Then the week before, I think, or I try to not read all the messages. And I remember in Dubai, Brian Fran said, I will get, I don't know what he said. His prediction was like 7th, 10th or something for Dubai. And I remember the last event, I looked at him and I pointed at him and said like 2nd. And in Berlin, his prediction was 5th, I think.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. And then in the last, I pointed at him again, I think 3rd. So yeah, the predictions are funny. First time I saw it, it was like, okay, they know my name, like they know who I am. What is great. I didn't care too much about the placement, what is in the predictions, but yeah, it's just good that someone is speaking about me, to be honest. But I think I'm there, and yeah. So rogue invitation would be great. A good experience at the games would be great, and having more fun than last year, because now I know what I can expect from the games. And I think I will feel more confident going into the games. And yeah, I think physically I'm on a good position with the program. I have a great team behind me or with me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to have a good preparation. I will leave tomorrow for Mallorca and will stay there till the 21st of July. And on the 21st of July, we will go to Chicago and drive from there straight to Madison. And then the games will start 2 weeks later.
Wow. Okay.
1 week? 1 week, 2 weeks.
1 week. Yeah. And is Denise going to Mallorca and Chicago and everything as well, or is she going to like meet you over there? Okay.
Yeah.
And
Last
so
year I went 2 weeks prior to Chicago alone, like by myself, and now she will come everything with me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And when do you have to be out of your house, out of your apartment?
Tomorrow.
Oh, fucking hell.
It's funny because we quit the rental here. Is
Yeah.
it right English? Yeah, we quit the rental to the 1st of July. And the new apartment is from the 1st of August. Like we are 1 month vagabundo, homeless.
Yeah. Where are you going to put all your stuff?
Here, because we know, like one of my coaches is going into this place.
Oh, so he's just gonna have a wall of Fiebig shit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but she said it's fine. I hope it's really. Like going into the semis, we had like 1 month of being homeless without knowing that I will qualify for the game. So that was like a risky thing. But no, we're gonna go to the, like everything runs out as planned. We will go to Mallorca for the preparation, for the final preparation. So everything worked out really well.
Would you go to the games again if you and I hope and pray this doesn't happen, but if you had a twinge, like if you felt like, oh, that's a bit sore, like that's, or like you say you pulled your hamstring snatching a few weeks before semis, like would you go anyway, or did last year's experience, would that put you off? Because I know a lot of people do that where they're like, fuck it, I'll go, I'll see what happens in the first event, maybe I'll hold together a bit of tape, bit of a few ejections or whatever. Like would you do that again?
I would do. I know that I would do it again because I know that the worst pain is like you can handle the pain in some way. Depends on the pain, I think. But John is an osteopath. He has a good understanding of pain. The other coach, Chris, at the program, who's coaching me as well, he has a good understanding of pain.
See the big tall guy.
Yeah, right. The German big tall guy. Yeah.
Emotionless, like fucking robot. Same as John. Like just doesn't give. He actually gives you less than John gives you emotion wise. But the only emotion he seems to have is anger. Like he just always looks like he's going to tell you to fuck off when you stop beside him. I met him in Miami, and I was like standing beside him for I don't know about 90 seconds, and he just goes, "I love your podcast, by the way." I was like, I thought. Look out of the warm-up area, the way he was looking.
Oh, really? Yeah. Chris is the best guy. He's coaching me, as I said, as well, because when John sent me the program, he sent it through WhatsApp. Now Chris is doing the program, delivering it through Not Fitter.
Yeah. I'll just edit out what he said not.
And Chris is really, really great. Like when you ask him about the 4th event in 2012 at the games, he will clearly say you the event and the points, what you have to think about. That's really crazy, and who won it and what was looking like, blah, blah, blah. So Chris is really the brain, I think. And Chris is funny. I told him like about some German guys who did in the quarterfinals, for example, this and that. And I said, I beat this guy. I'm really happy. And I'm like, are you not happy? Because he wasn't like showing some emotions. He's not showing emotions all the time. But then he was like, Moritz, we don't compare you with this and this guy. We compare you with the best of the world. And then he left. And so this is Chris. So really, really good combination to have Chris and John, like to feel well.
Yeah,
I love these guys.
There's Marius. Love the way you cheered on Victor Hoffer, I assume that is, on the rope pull. Amazing sportsmanship. That's the shit we love to see, though. I promise I wouldn't keep you more than an hour. We're on an hour and 3 minutes, so I'll let you go.
You did.
I will see you in Madison. I will bring you a coffee in Madison at some point. It's great to catch up with you. Great to talk to you. I love spending time with you. You're a great guy. I hope the move out goes well, and I hope the camp in Mallorca and trip to Chicago and everything goes well, and all the best to everyone on the island.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time and speaking to me and helping me with my English, Peter. When will be you